Today we're going to tackle the psychological, somewhat philosophical idea of why we decorate. Specifically, our homes, our domiciles, the places in which we inhabit. So, if you think about it, why do we decorate our living spaces? What purposes do these decorations serve? What can a space tell you about the person living there? And what does your space say about you? Keep all these things in mind when we move throughout today's presentation. Something really interesting that you might not have thought of before is for whom we decorate. Do people decorate their homes for themselves or for others? And does a space change when you allow someone to see it? All of a sudden, it goes from being something personal to being almost an unspoken conversation between your home and the visitor. It's all about personality. It can be any one of these reasons or more. So people, humans, decorate for a sense of belonging or ownership, for organization or functionality, sentimentality and nostalgia, to showcase hobbies or interests, to create an atmosphere or a mood or an energy about the space, as a reflection of social or economic status, reflection of religious beliefs, or a perceived personality expression. Let's take a look at each of these more in depth. Humans, from the time you start drawing on your wall as a toddler to owning your own home or renting your own space as an adult, we have this territorial instinct, and we want to show a sense of belonging or ownership, both to others and to ourselves. It's curious to think of how people do this even when they just own a small section of a space. Think about in a traditional brick and mortar school how one might decorate the outside or inside of their locker. Although they only own a very, very small space to call their own in a long hallway of lockers, they want to personalize it, bring a bit of themselves into that space. Often, when you see roommates or siblings sharing a bedroom, there will be a divide in how the space is decorated to showcase the individual's personality. So we don't have to be talking about whole single-family homes or whole apartments. We can be talking about any sort of space that you feel belongs to you, or that you own, or that you are momentarily inhabiting. I find that the older you get, the more nostalgic and sentimental you become. I've noticed that when I go to my grandfather's home, the main decor item is family photos. Now, I was thinking about this a lot today and thinking about how the elderly often have pictures of their youth, of their children's youth. And then I was thinking, you know what? When I was in college, so a teenager, I had sentimental, nostalgic things on my wall. Remembrance of good times, maybe a prom picture, maybe a picture of your best friend since childhood. So you don't have to be older or elderly to have this sense of sentimentality or nostalgia. Even teenagers and young adults have good times to remember, and sometimes they want to reflect that in their decoration of space. A wall can be used for organization or functionality. Now, if I walked into either of these spaces right here, it would tell me that this person is an organized person. Organization is important to them because usually what's reflected in our space and on our walls is what we deem to be important. So these people might have to have a place for everything and everything in its place. Or if you think about it a different way, they could be a disorganized person and need that big calendar right in their central living space to achieve a sense of organization. Often, home decor reflects religious beliefs, no matter what the religion that person is practicing. This not only serves as a personal reminder of what is important or spiritual to that person, but shares that with someone coming into their space or their home. Many people like to decorate a space to tell others or themselves of their goals or accomplishments. This could include, but definitely is not limited to, medals won in one way or another, or hunting trophies. I know a lot of my relatives have some hunting trophies, although I never would. To each their own. Your space is also a reflection of your social or economic status, or perceived social or economic status. Whether we know it or not, people live in many, many different environments, and looking at a person's space could give us some clues as to that person's social or economic status. As you see, the person living in this small space made of plywood on the left seems to not have a lot of space to decorate in the first place, and the space that they do have is unfinished and is mainly used to store items, whereas the person's room on the right, perhaps they have some more money to spend on frivolous things such as curtains to hang above your bed, or an ornate golden bed frame, or an upholstered dressing curtain. Hobbies and interests are often reflected on people's walls. I find this most commonly occurs during the teenage years. So if I want to be very stereotypical, I could look at these two, not if I wanted to be stereotypical, if I wanted to stereotype, I could look at these two rooms right here and I could think, oh, well, that person really enjoys music and skateboarding. That person really enjoys horses. Sure, that's what it's communicating to me. In this lesson, you might think, wow, she's being really judgmental, or she's really stereotyping. It's all about visual information. If this person didn't like horses, why would they put horses all over their wall? That's the information the viewer is receiving. That leads us into perceived personality, which is a little different. This could mean how you want to come off to another person as. So on the left, we see my favorite Food Network host, Damaris Phillips. And what cracks me up about her show is she always has perfect hair, and she cooks in white all the time. If you've ever really gotten down and dirty in the kitchen, you get sauce all over yourself. You should wear an apron. You would never wear a white dress to cook in the kitchen. However, this is the personality that Damaris, as a Southern belle, wants people to perceive when they watch her show. Whereas the figure on the right, we might assume them to be a fan of heavy metal, perhaps. They're wearing leather, they have black curtains and black sheets and black comforter, and a stack of what could be cassettes or CDs in the background, when really we don't know this person at all. They could volunteer petting kittens or singing classical music in their free time. We don't know. This is just a perceived personality. You also have to take into account the energy you want to feel when you're in a room, whether your guest is in your room or your space or you are. So if someone wanted to be in a very zen-like state, they might have pictures or large windows of nature, because many people find that nature is calming and centering. Now, going so far as to have a platform over water in your room is taking that to a next level. Whereas the other example I have here, we have bright, bold colors. We're assuming this to maybe be a child's room, a room where creating and playing would happen. It's very cheerful, so it has a completely different energy, which you can achieve through decor and color. So there's your examples. Basically, it's all about visual cues. In this class, we've been talking about visual information, using what we already know, and sometimes assumptions are unavoidable. Decor choices could be deceiving. Getting to know someone is what really counts. I just have 2 more pictures to share before we part ways today. I did a Google search for teenage bedroom, and I liked these 2 pictures, this one and the following one, mainly because this one is just so 70s. We have the color choices. We have that the rust and the avocado green and the butternut squash of the 70s, and pictures of the Beatles and Mick Jagger. And it's so reminiscent of that time. I get such a kick out of it. And actually changed the decor a little bit, and it looks like my freshman dorm room. I had my whole entire wall plastered with pop stars and magazine cutouts, big posters of movies. And then we have this room shared by Lee and Larry Lovely. There's some alliteration for you, which has a mural painted on the wall to look like the Batcave. So that's pretty cool as well. Just wanted to share those 2 with you because I found them particularly interesting. Here's a little bit of information to make my slideshow a little more legal. So I got a lot of my information from the Psychology of Home and an INTP, which is actually a personality forum on why people decorate. See you next time.